Welcome back, horror movie lovers. Today, I continue to tell the American horror series, Unnamed Jane. Before the story begins, I first thank everyone for the strong support of this video. The story takes place inside a morgue late at night. Coroner Tommy and his son just finish an examination of a body and are about to leave work. A detective again pushes in a Jane for them. Jane's skin appears fair with a rosy glow and is very elastic. From the naked eye, they cannot tell at all that she is a dead person. Sheldon says she is found in Doug's basement. Her identity is unknown, and no fingerprint records are found. Moreover, Doug's family of 3 also mysteriously perished. Before their deaths, they all struggled greatly to leave their house. Sheldon states that due to the significant public outcry caused by this incident, he implores Tommy to quickly find out the true cause of Jane's death. Just then, the usually docile cat lets out a low growl towards Jane. Believing it is because of Sheldon, Tommy loudly scolds and chases it away. He then runs from the basement to outside, lights a cigarette, and prepares to begin the next examination work. The coroner profession has already been passed down for 3 generations in Tommy's family. Each generation is stronger than the last, and they are very famous. His son Austin also does not want to hold them back. For every examination, he must learn on site. He postpones his date with his girlfriend. He tells his girlfriend to meet him at this location at 11:30 to have fun. Subsequently, the two of them change clothes and turn on the camera. They immediately begin the examination of the unnamed Jane. First, they conduct an external examination. Tommy discovers that Jane's eyeballs are very cloudy, as if she has been dead for several days. Her waist is also unusually slender, completely inconsistent with human anatomy. Most importantly, all of Jane's body joints have comminuted fractures. However, her external appearance shows no trauma. This is highly inconsistent with medical logic. Immediately after, Austin pries open Jane's mouth. He finally discovers the only wound. They see that her tongue is cruelly removed. Tommy believes this is likely related to a human trafficking case 15 years ago. At that time, 2 girls have their hands and feet tightly bound by iron chains. To prevent them from making sounds, the traffickers cruelly removed the girls' tongues. However, these are just Tommy's deductions based on his past experience. The specifics still need to be discussed after the examination is complete. At this moment, Austin picks up the camera to record Jane. While filming, he discovers that Jane's nostril suddenly moves on its own. Austin is also stunned on the spot and slowly puts down the camera in his hand. It turns out to be a fly that crawls out from inside and flies away. In Western culture, flies are symbols of evil and are inauspicious. However, Tommy is an atheist and does not care much. He picks up the knife and is about to make an incision on Jane's abdomen. But unexpectedly, the radio nearby suddenly crackles and turns on. It does not play normal radio programs. Instead, it is the sound of a woman screaming. She is likely being beaten. Then the sound cuts out and music starts playing. The father and son exchange a smile and continue their work. But after a few cuts, blood immediately gushes continuously from the wound. Even Austin, a beginner, senses something unusual. This is because only living people bleed in this manner. But Tommy still claims he has seen this situation before, stating it is because of pressure buildup, causing blood to gush out rapidly. He tells his son it is a minor situation and a normal phenomenon. Then, using iron pliers, he opens Jane's ribs. After seeing her 2 lungs, it bewilders Tommy again. Austin says he did not expect the woman to be a heavy smoker as her 2 lungs are pitch black. Tommy states even if she smokes 10 packs a day for 30 consecutive years, her lungs would not be this black. He can confirm this level of lung damage would at least manifest as 3rd-degree burns on the body. But now, Jane's skin is fair with a rosy glow, as if nothing is wrong with her. This is like finding a bullet in the brain, but there is no gunshot wound on the outside of the skull, which is very absurd. Meanwhile, Jane's heart and other organs are all covered in cracks. Given this condition, her body should already be a bloody mess. As the father and son are at a loss, a rumbling thunder sounds outside. All the electrical appliances flicker and are affected. Just then, a sound of metal clanging echoes from outside the door. Austin opens the door and follows the sound until he reaches the corner of the hallway. In a mirror above, he sees a tall figure. After hesitating for a while, Austin suppresses his emotions and comes to the corner. But the figure is gone. He thinks his girlfriend has not left yet. Austin pushes open various rooms and starts searching everywhere for the person's whereabouts. As a result, he hears strange sounds in the ventilation duct above his head. He steps onto a stool and looks inside repeatedly. Suddenly, a dark shadow darts past. Austin tumbles over and falls to the ground. At the same time, his father is attracted by the loud noise and runs over. Austin says something is in the ventilation duct. With his father's help, he climbs onto the stool again. He discovers that it is their family cat in the duct. And it is barely alive. About to die. Only after taking it out does he realize the cat's body is covered in bloodstains. All its ribs are broken. It looks like it suffered immense torture. Tommy appears extremely heartbroken at this moment, because this cat means a great deal to him. It is a pet his wife cherished dearly when she was alive. Tommy promised his wife he would keep it plump. But now the cat suddenly becomes half dead and barely alive. Tommy cannot bear for it to endure such great pain. He cruelly euthanized the cat's neck to send it on its way. Immediately after, the father and son quickly return to the main topic and begin a thorough examination of Jane. He checks what remains in her stomach and intestines. With one cut, he surprisingly removes a black object from her stomach. Austin looks closely and sees that it is a flower. Tommy also finds it familiar. So he takes out an encyclopedia and starts searching. He discovers this flower is called mandrake, a drug that can paralyze nerves. This flower only blooms in the north. Tommy thus deduces the woman's likely origin. At this moment, the radio continues to broadcast. The wind speed outside now reaches 60 miles per hour. The estimated rainfall reaches 3 inches within 1 hour. After hearing this, Austin has a very bad feeling. Because he checked the weather forecast in the morning, which said the next half month would be sunny and it would not rain at all. He is also a religious person who somewhat believes in ghosts and spirits. He advises his father to stop for the night and finish the rest in the morning. His father says the police need to know the cause of death by tomorrow morning. They still have no clue. He tells him if he wants to go on a date, he should go quickly and not hinder his work. Seeing that he cannot persuade him, Austin has no choice but to grit his teeth and continue. Soon after, his father pulls another object from the stomach and intestines. From its appearance, it seems to be a rolled-up piece of cloth. His father eagerly opens it. Inside, it wraps one of Jane's teeth. On the cloth, there are also some very strange characters drawn. The patterns look very ancient. They do not recognize any of them. They only slightly recognize those few Roman numerals. Then Austin begins to analyze. Jane first has her teeth pulled out by someone. The teeth are wrapped in cloth, and she is forced to swallow them. Then her tongue is removed, and poison is administered. Next, all the joints in her body are broken, and her internal organs are stabbed and then burned. Based on the above, he guesses that Jane is definitely used as some kind of sacrifice by someone. After the analysis, Tommy makes a new discovery. He sees that Jane's skin and flesh at the joints are surprisingly painted with black pigment. Presumably, something must be hidden under this skin. So Tommy uses a scalpel to cut open the skin and flesh. At this moment, the radio again plays that eerie song from before. It seems to be stopping Tommy from stopping his actions. But as they peel the skin from Jane's body, the two of them are surprised to find that inside the skin, various strange patterns, big and small, are actually drawn. The two of them are immediately stunned. Such a beautiful work is carved out using some perverse method. As the camera focuses on the girl's pale eyes, all the electric lights in the room also flicker. Suddenly, an explosion occurs, and it plunges into darkness. He only realizes the gravity of the situation when faced with the undeniable truth. The father finally remembers to leave, pulling his son and running out of the morgue. There are only 2 exits. Because there is a power outage, the elevator is definitely unusable. The father quickly climbs the stairs to push the door. This door connects to the ground level. Opening it allows them to escape. But the two of them push for a long time, only managing to open a small gap. Tommy peeks through the gap. It turns out that the sycamore tree in the yard was blown down by the wind. It landed right on this door. It weighs at least several tons. and the two of them cannot push it open at all. At this moment, Austin holds his phone and gestures with it inside the room. He discovers that he cannot connect to a signal. Tommy says there is a landline phone in the office. It connects to the police station and should be usable. As they walk, a ticking sound comes from the corner opposite them. Tommy takes giant strides. He pushes open the door and quickly arrives at the office. He picks up the receiver. And Tommy sighs in relief. He calls the police station. Although the call connects, the officer says he cannot hear his voice at all. His side is intermittent, and he asks if the signal is not very good. After saying a few hasty words, he hangs up the phone. From outside the door, the sound of bells jingling comes. Tommy and his father immediately have a bad feeling, because the bells are what they use to prevent someone from reanimating. They hang them on the ankles of the corpses in the morgue. Besides the Jane inside, there are two other bodies they already examined this morning. It is impossible for them to walk. As the sound of bells gets closer, Austin also lies down by the door crack to see what is going on. Judging by the color of the bodies, Austin deduces it should be the pair of bodies with their mouths and eyes sewn shut. Seeing the bodies facing them through the door, the two immediately become confused and do not know what to do. When the bodies outside frantically bang on the door and pull the handle, they then come to their senses and use a cabinet to block that thing. Seeing they cannot get in, they immediately stop their actions. At this moment, Austin says that Jane must be the problem. Before Sheldon brought her over, everything here was fine. However, the father still insists on his own views at this moment. He believes everything in this world has a scientific basis and cannot be as strange as Austin says. After speaking, he rolls up his sleeves to deal with the wounds caused by the explosion just now. While washing, Tommy suddenly hears someone breathing behind the curtain, so he puts down his actions and slowly walks over. When Austin turns his head, he surprisingly finds someone standing behind the curtain. He quickly yells to stop him, but when Tommy pulls it open, nothing appears inside. He also looks proudly at his son, as if telling him his idea is wrong. But less than half a second later, Tommy is dragged away by a force. He gets severely beaten. When Austin breaks through the door and rushes in, the blocked door also opens at the same time. But at this moment, he only wants to know his father's injuries and does not care about anything else. He lifts his clothes and discovers Tommy's stomach has a large bulge. There is bruising, and several ribs inside are likely broken. Tommy now has no choice but to believe what Austin says, because during the struggle just now, he sees Jane's gray eyes. The two then go through the corridor to the morgue, where they find the freezer storing bodies in the room is open, and it is empty. After saying that, the two directly approach Jane, because only by figuring out the origin of this thing can they perhaps be saved. Tommy then discovers that the organs removed from Jane's body have rapidly decayed and turned black, while those inside her remain perfectly preserved. As if alive, Tommy makes a decisive decision. He must push her into the incinerator and completely burn her. However, what Tommy says seems to be heard by Jane, who slowly closes and locks the main door. Austin notices the anomaly and quickly grabs a fire axe from nearby. After a few swings of the axe, he carves a small opening in the door. He also looks out the door through the opening, and the corpse with its mouth sewn shut suddenly appears. Their eyes meet. Seeing this situation, Austin hurriedly picks up a bucket of gasoline and pours it on Jane, burning her on the spot. The father also cooperatively lights a match and throws it over. Immediately, Jane's body bursts into flames. The fire also grows larger. It surprisingly spreads upwards, burning the ceiling and igniting the entire room. As the two men frantically start putting out the fire again, Austin is shocked by what he sees halfway through. Because as the fire diminishes, Jane's body shows no signs of burns at all. Her face is also rosy and tender, as if she just finished strenuous exercise. The two men are also shocked at this moment. They do not know what kind of demon or monster they're facing. Fortunately, the house suddenly gets power, and the door can also be opened immediately. The father and son quickly go down the corridor to the elevator entrance. But at that inopportune moment, The elevator surprisingly closes and goes upstairs just as they run over. As the sound of the bell gets closer, the father and son can only wait anxiously at the elevator entrance. The father also takes the axe from his son's hand and shields him behind his back, preparing for a fight to the death. Fortunately, at this moment, the elevator arrives with a ding-dong. Austin quickly pries open the door. He pulls his father inside. But halfway up, all circuits shut down again. It is obvious that Jane is behind all of this. First, she gives them a little hope. Then she extinguishes it to completely crush Tommy and his son psychologically. At this moment, their situation is very awkward. They are stuck in a dead end. Tommy can only raise his axe, ready to counterattack at any moment. The moment that thing walks over, Tommy strikes with his axe towards its neck. After the strike, there's no sound outside. But when Austin peeks his head out to look, his face is filled with terror and disbelief. Because Tommy struck his girlfriend Emma. This blow exactly struck her neck, severing her throat. After Emma gasps for a while, she quickly dies. The two of them also fall into endless grief. But the son quickly recovers. He comforts his father, saying it is not his fault. Now the elevator is broken. They must find a way to survive and leave this place. Austin says that when they examine Jane, every time she tries to stop them, as if something does not want them to discover it. So the father and son return to the morgue and turn on the operating light. Now only Jane's head has not been thoroughly examined. Austin makes an incision, cutting open the skin tissue. Then he uses a saw to cut open Jane's skull. He cuts off a part of the brain tissue from inside. When he observes under the microscope, he instantly exclaims. It also makes his father quickly come over to see what the situation is. Tommy looks through the microscope and discovers that Jane's brain tissue and blood cells are very active. Tommy exclaims that it is no wonder they cannot find the cause of death, because she is not dead at all. Tommy also says a few insincere words at this time. He wonders if some kind of thing in energy keeps her alive. Austin, dizzy with anxiety, casually turns over the cloth inside Jane's stomach. He finally finds the whole story. He discovers that when the cloth is folded, the text on it combines to form a passage. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 7. And Leviticus is part of the Bible. Tommy previously discovers that Austin often likes to read in the morgue. So he quickly takes it down from a nearby bookshelf, turns to the corresponding chapter, and reads it carefully.
1693.
Any man or woman who consults the spirits of the dead shall be put to death, for they are.
The general meaning is that Jane comes from the year 1693, which is the 17th century, and in the northeast direction of the 17th century, their country is prevalent with the profession of witches. Also, at the beginning, Austin discovers that Jane's waist is unusually slender, and waist binding, very popular in that 17th century era, combines with the strange patterns and text on the woman's skin. She is likely the witch from hundreds of years ago. She was treated as a sacrifice. Therefore, her resentment runs very deep. So much so that Jane can feel every single thing outsiders do to her. Ami guesses his broken ribs are also Jane's deliberate act because not long ago H used pliers to break Jane's ribs. This is Jane's revenge against them and her ritual. At this moment, the door is suddenly struck. While Austin runs to block the door, Tommy leans down and makes a request to Jane. He says he will not resist her subsequent actions towards him, but asks her not to harm his son Austin. After he finishes speaking, the lights inside the house suddenly become brighter. No more banging sounds come from outside the door. It seems Tommy's words have already formed some kind of pact with Jane. Immediately after, Tommy, who is lying next to Jane, starts to frown deeply. He constantly groans as if enduring immense pain.
Dad?
as various parts of Tommy's body suffer different degrees of injury. Jane, on the other hand, quickly recovers. Even the blood that flowed out returns to her body. Her eyes, initially cloudy, become clear and powerful. It seems she is about to come back to life. In contrast, Tommy's eyes have already started to cloud over. He laboriously points to a surgical knife nearby, hoping his son does something, because it is not hard to tell from the smoke Tommy just exhaled. His throat should already be burned through, leaving him unable to speak. Austin might also understand his father's meaning, but he cannot bear to do it. Under his father's painful, struggling expression, Austin still raises the knife and stabs Tommy's heart. Afterward, he hears someone outside the house calling him. Austin recognizes Sheldon's voice. He opens the door and quickly walks over. Sheldon says he has moved the tree above, so Austin's side should be able to open the door. But Austin pushes several times, and it is still stuck, completely unable to open. After they talk for a few sentences, Sheldon's side surprisingly starts singing.
And let the sun shine, so let the sun shine, faces smiling never, round never, so let the sun shine.
Ultimately, Jane does not spare Austin. She still devises a plan to neutralize him. Jane's pursuit is to complete a full ritual. Others endure the pain she once experienced. Moreover, after this ritual is complete, Jane should be able to resurrect. Tommy's final gesture, pointing at the scalpel, does not mean he wants Austin to end his suffering quickly. In fact, it refers to a detail on Jane's body, cutting off her tongue. Austin does not cut off his father's tongue and ends the ritual. So the curse continues. The time comes to the next day. Outside, the sky is clear. There was no storm last night at all. And the sycamore tree does not fall, standing upright in the yard. When Sheldon and his group arrive at the basement, they discover only the two corpses of Tommy and Austin, the father and son. Inside the temporary room, everything is intact. All the corpses, as well as Jane, are perfectly intact and placed on the table. Sheldon also does not understand what exactly happened there last night. The scene is exactly the same as the case at Doug's house. A hole is broken in the door. This indicates that the two of them also wanted to escape from there at the time. Sheldon believes this woman of unknown origin is very eerie. Therefore, he orders his subordinates to move her out of his jurisdiction, hand her over to a well-known medical university in the neighboring county, and have the doctors and students there handle her. But while a police officer transports the corpse, the radio in the car is suddenly interrupted and plays the familiar song from the beginning of the movie. Immediately after, the camera pans all the way to the woman's feet. At this point, the movie ends.